Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hi. Okay,
Hello.
so
Good
there would
morning.
be lots. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so there will be lots of people joining. So the room here will just be open for the next 5 minutes, so we can start on time. But you can put yourself on mute and just hang out for the next 5 minutes until we're ready to go. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Jelena. Okay, welcome to those of you rolling in now. We'll just give it a few more minutes so we can start on time. There's quite a few people who have signed up to this event, which is great. And I'm excited to see how many will be here on the call today. But yeah, we'll give it a few more minutes. Hi, Seamus.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Yanis. Good to see you.
Yes, good morning. You
Good
can see
morning.
me and hear me, right? Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yeah, perfect. No problems there.
Excellent.
Okay. Okay, so welcome everyone. It's now 9:01, so I think we'll just get going because we've got a big tight program. And yeah, I'm just excited to see you here. It'd be lovely if you could put your cameras on just so I can see who's here. I already have seen some familiar names, obviously, but also really nice to see lots of new people that I haven't spoken to before or connected with yet. So it's great to have you here as well. Hi, Ola, as well. It's good to see you.
Nice to see you. Hello.
Hello. Okay, so today we will be talking about plant-based production, which I'm really excited about. There's been a lot of participants signing up for this, so we've got about, I think, 65 in the end ended up signing up. So thank you for the support and showing interest in this event. I'm really happy that that's hit a mark there. And yeah, we'll see. I'm expecting about 50 to be on this call. So people will probably be rolling in over the next half hour, I could imagine, and people will drop off as it is with teaching as well. But yeah, we will just get going. So as you can see, I'm sharing here an AHA slide, which is similar to like a Mentimeter. If you've come across that before, it's like an interactive tool. And I really encourage you to log on to this and sign up. So you should just be able to scan the QR code and then it should work that you can join it. And there'll be a link continuously throughout. So if you lose access to the slide, you can come on later on as well. But we'll be using this throughout to, yeah, see where you're at, see what's going on, and like what you're thinking about the different presenters that will be here today. And I guess before we go any further, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Cecilia Whitnable, and I'm the lead in Denmark for CoVE College for this project in CoVE. And so in Denmark, we have 5 partners. CoVE College is the lead. And yeah, we're the only dairy school here at EQF level 4. And so this year, the reason why we're doing these conferences is because this year we have, with the CoVE funding, been creating these new courses on sustainability, which was the last conference, right, we did. And we've created an elective course on plant-based. And then we've also created a course on automation. And these are the three main conferences we will be hosting this year. And so the plant-based here is obviously like an interesting one, because I think it's still a subject that a lot of teachers in VET are trying to wrap their minds around, their heads around. What does this mean? What does it look like? There's not really any sort of books out there that you can just take off the shelf and then create your content for your teaching, for example, around this. So it can be a pretty big challenge to have to create teaching material and really be on top of what's going on, what's moving in this space, because it's so new, right, for a lot of us. And so for that reason, we have decided to create these conferences, both so we can share some of this experience that we have got within our CoVE, because several people do actually teach plant-based. So we really want to knowledge share, network, so we don't have to feel like we have to start from scratch the whole time. But it also seemed like a really good opportunity to bring everyone together and to hear from industry what's actually moving, because, you know, they are the first movers, and they really, we're working in such close collaboration with industry as well. So of course we want to hear what's going on there. And so today we have an interesting program. We will be having Ola from Tetra Pak, Ola Funkvist, will come on here in just a moment. And then we'll move on to Yannis Samakidis from Novonesis. And then in the end, I have a video from Kevin Deegan, and he represents Valio, because there were issues with his flights this morning. So we had a conversation late last night, and he recorded his presentation. So I'll be showing that later this before lunch, before we finish out. Yeah, so I just want to sort of hash out some rules before we get started as well. Please keep yourself on mute just for the time being. There will be a breakout session where there'll be lots of opportunity to chat. But for now, keep yourself on mute. If you want to say something, ask a question, put your hand up or put it in the chat so I can keep track of who's participating and who's saying stuff. And obviously participate in these AHA slides that I'll be sharing throughout, because that will give us a good sense where everyone's at, and just be able to check in, and you can share your thoughts as well and see what other people are thinking too. And before we move into the first AHA slide, I also want to just say thank you to the working group that's been really supporting me around creating this whole event, and also the last event. It's been super, super helpful to have the input and the different ideas. As most of you will know, I'm not trained in this dairy space. And so for me, it can be super challenging to really know what's the go, who can I reach out to, what does the industry look like, who are the important players, and that sort of stuff. So having, I would say, these experts with me, alongside me, who actually know this field, this space so much better than me, has been really, really good. So thank you for that. And that's in the working group. We've got Maria Christina as well, who's from the Danish team, Maria Christina Sørensen. And then we also have Seamus Mahoney from Ireland, and Norbert from the Danish team as well, Norbert Rack, and also Birte. And Birte is from UCL, Birte Jespersen. And so, yeah, thank you to you guys. And obviously, the three presenters we've got today from Tetra Pak and Novonesis and Valio, so great to have you here. And I can't wait to hear your presentations today. I think it would be really valuable from what we have discussed in advance. So yeah, I think let's get started. So before we dive into the first presentation, I just want to go on here, and you should now see the next slide on the AHA slides. And I just want to see where everyone's joining in from. So we've got about 36 people on the call now. And obviously this invitation has gone out to our full CoVE. So that means 9 countries across Europe. Yeah. And I can see there are quite a lot of people who've signed up this time around who I haven't connected with before. So it'd be great to see where you're all joining from. Are you able to? Oh, you still have the front page. We had this problem last time. Anyone on the call who can see the next page? Yeah, Colette, you've got it? Okay. Maybe refresh if you haven't got it yet. I've got a colleague with me here who's kind of testing real time with me if it's working. Yeah, okay. So my colleague Camilla is saying now she's going to try and log out and sign back in. And you can see at the top here, you've got the little QR code. I also can see that no one has I'm just going to refresh here as well. Let's see. Ah, here we go. Okay. Okay, I can see a few people have managed to log on. So we got the Netherlands. And this should work as we go along. I remember the first slide last time, we also had a few like sort of hiccups, but then as time sort of, I don't know, as we all got used to it, it worked out pretty well. Let's see, yeah, 10 people have been able to log on, so that's good. I'm assuming it's working then. Otherwise, Camilla, give me a total heads up if it's like not working at all. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the next before time flies here. So let's see. I would also love to know if you do consume plant-based products or not. I have this experience that this topic of plant-based can really divide people into black and white, into, you know, yes, I totally do, yes, I know I don't do, or like, I wouldn't touch it. You know, there's lots of thoughts and lots of apprehension sometimes around this topic. But I think what I've picked up over the last few weeks as I've been kind of diving more and more into this, I'm just going to update this again, is that the nuance and the detail also from talking to the people who are presenting today, that there is this, there's really room for so much more in this space. There's room for having the gray, not having the black and white thinking, having more of the flexibility and the opportunity to, I guess, create products that are varied, that really caters to all our different preferences, and still making something that's good quality and that meets the consumer needs and also meets the needs of the planet and all of these things, right? So I think,
Cecilia,
yeah,
could you show the QR code again in a large size? Because nobody can find it.
Good. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, let's see if people are getting this. I'll go on to the next one here. Okay, and so what do you think is the most popular plant-based drink worldwide? Is it working? So I have can see there are people on here. I don't know why I have to update it again. Let's see. Okay. And people are guessing right here. I looked this up. Well, I asked ChatGPT and it told me it was sorry. So, you know, don't shoot me if it's like totally off mark for some reason, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. So, okay, let's see. And we'll move on to the next one here. I might just drop, let's see, click to copy link. I'm going to copy the link for the slides into the chat as well for people to access. Okay, and what comes to mind when you think of plant-based dairy production? Let's see if we can get this to work. There's a suspicion here it might be the network at our school, maybe, which would be classic for a day like today. But let's see. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Okay, there's a good mix here. So healthier is one of the words that's been put on here. And then, so there's both a camp of, it can be really good, right? It's connected to startups, alternatives, creative advertisements, but then there's also these more, I guess, negative connotations around poor quality, bad taste. And some of that we'll also be addressing today because it is a challenge, obviously. So how do we deal with those challenges? And we'll be discussing that later on. Yeah, good. Okay, and we'll move on to the next one here. What do you think is the biggest challenge with teaching plant-based production to dairy students in VET? So this is obviously, if you are a teacher and you're working in this space, this is something that we'll all have to consider and think about at some point or another, right? How do we manage this and what are the challenges? Just update here again. Yeah, lack of knowledge, get enough knowledge, getting enough knowledge. Like, I think that's really also what we have been discussing here as Camilla, the teacher at our school, who's been developing plant-based along with another teacher as well, has been like, it's a lot of self-study, you have to really really be motivated to look into this, because it's hard to figure out exactly how do you hit the right level, how do you create the materials, how do you also make it engaging when you might never have produced plant-based yourself. Yeah, so little experience, I think that's really related to this as well. New literature, less material available. Yeah, for sure. Okay, and I think we've got one more and then we'll move on to Yanis's talk. Finally, I just want to know as well, what do you hope to get out of this conference? What are your expectations? And hopefully we'll be able to meet them today. Okay, I'll just update here again. There's something with our server. Oh God. Okay, so anyway, put it onto the AHA slide, because once I get on to it again in a moment, hopefully, it should still be there. Let me just see if it connects now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, good. New knowledge, new ideas, deeper insight into plant-based production. Material is able to be fermented or not, yeah. Kickstart to more knowledge, yes. I really hope we will hit that mark and be able to give you a little more insight into the space. And so as we move on now, so I'll pass the word in just a second to Ola Funkvist from Tetra Pak. And because I'm not an expert in this area, I thought it would be really strange if I started talking about what's moving in plant-based and all this sort of stuff. So I'm not going to give like a introduction to the space, but when I spoke to Ola, I could hear that because he is way more knowledgeable in this space, that obviously he can talk to this and give everyone really sort of that perspective as we move along with the day. So I hope you get that sense too. And I'll just move on here. So giving the word to Ola Funkvist, and he's Alliance Solutions Manager at Tetra Pak. I can hear someone is not on mute. Please mute yourself. Just a second. Let's see. I am just going to mute whoever it is. So yeah, okay, here we go. Great. Yes, so Ola, I will give the word to you, Line Solutions Manager at Tetra Pak. You've got so much experience in the space, so please take it away. I'll stop sharing and you can share your presentation now.
Yes, hello, thank you very much. Grateful to be here and present Tetra Pak capabilities within plant-based processing and plant-based product innovations. Let's see, share, and I hope you see my presentation now.
Yeah, I can see it.
Perfect. So let's get started. I work in as a line solution manager for our plant-based processing solutions within Tetra Pak. So I'm dedicated only working with plant-based processing and plant-based innovations. And I belong to a team within the company called Center of Expertise Plant-Based. So I work, it's a global team. We work globally with this in all markets, both with development but also with sales support and supporting our markets in opportunities. On the agenda today, I divided into a first introduction to Tetra Pak, and then we'll move into 5 minutes about characteristics of plant-based products, and followed by an introduction to our plant-based processing solutions. And then we move on to plant-based product innovations. And in the end, if you have any questions, I'm happy to trying to answer those in the end. But let's get started with an overview of Tetra Pak as a company. We are divided into three different business units: processing, packaging, and services. And I'm part of the processing business, focusing only on processing solutions. So I'm not involved in the packaging lines, the biggest part of our company. But within processing, we deliver integrated industrial solutions for the food and beverage industry. My focus today will be on beverage. I saw there was a question about fermented plant-based products. Unfortunately, I will not cover fermented plant-based products today, but those who are interested, feel free to reach out and we can have a separate session about that. Within the company, we have the vision to protect the food, protect people, and protect our planet. We are focusing a lot on improving our solutions from a sustainability perspective. Yeah, what I can say also is that yeah, I'll come back to that. But the company is founded in Lund, Sweden, where I'm situated, and it was founded 1951. Around 25,000 employees all around the world, so we have local presence in over 160 countries. Within Tetra Pak processing, we are organized into 8 different application areas, each one looking into the unique challenges for that specific application. Dairy, the biggest unit for us, both chilled and ambient dairy products, including yogurts, ice cream. I guess it's obvious what they do. Also plant-based ice creams. Beverage, still drinks, soft drinks, also carbonated drinks. And then we have cheese as one separate unit. Prepared food, products like sauces, custards, products often including particles. We have a powder division as well. And the most recent unit is food fermentation, where we look into precision fermentation and biomass fermentation. So that is our newest unit within the company. I belong to the plant-based team, working with both plant-based beverages and plant-based fermented products, like yogurt alternatives or whatever to call them. Tetra Pak, we have been working with plant-based for almost 5 decades now. Our first processing line for plant-based products was developed in 1980, and it was for soy beverages. From there, we have continuously developed our line solutions. During the 1994, at Lund University, very close to where I am, where we are situated, the oat beverage was invented. And that was, of course, the spark that later developed into the oat boom, or I should perhaps say the plant-based boom. And after that, it really took off with the plant-based products globally. Today, we see a lot of different ingredients on the products made from different ingredients on the market. Today, companies are looking into improving taste, improving nutrition, very much by looking into different blends of different raw materials to optimize by using different raw materials in the same product. So that is one trend that we see right now. Customers are looking for products with more proteins, good taste, and also price has become more and more important the last years. So our customers are looking into also to cut costs, to optimize operational costs, to reduce operational costs, to be more competitive on the market. So to summarize, we've been around for five decades within this looking into plant-based processing and trying to drive the category forward with our solutions. Next topic is the characteristics of a plant-based products. I selected this slide to show the diversity within the category. You have a lot of different raw materials, each with its own uniqueness and composition. And of course, it creates a lot of challenges, but also opportunities. Those challenges or opportunities is either solved by innovative processing solutions or with food tech know-how and innovations. So the fact that this is a very diverse food category is one major reason why it's so exciting to work in this category. There's a huge range of different products out there, and the category is growing at a much faster pace than the beverage category as a whole. It is growing twice as much as the total beverage category. So a lot of new innovations will for sure come in the future. And it's a very exciting and challenging category to work with. It's not only the raw material that differs. If you look on a specific category within the plant-based category, in this case, on this slide, almond milk, you see that the formulas, the recipes differs a lot also, depending on which kind of functionality you are looking for in your beverage. You have clean label products with just a few different ingredients. You have fortified products where you have more ingredients. And then a very popular category is the barista products, and they have a different formula. So within each raw material, you see also a huge variety of different products on the market. And Yannis will cover this more in detail in his presentation, but in the business, a lot of different enzymes are used to create functionality and uniqueness in your final product. This is a mapping of oat beverages on the market, and you can see that the difference in sugar profile is significant between the the 8 products that we have looked into here. The first product is is a pure maltose drink with only maltose. The second product does not contain any maltose, instead only glucose. And then you have other products here with a combination of maltose and glucose. So to summarize, you have the different raw materials, you have different formulations, and depending also how you design your process and which enzymes you are using, you can also create uniqueness and differentiation with your product. So a broad variety of different products, creating a lot of challenges and, of course, opportunities. So that was a bit of an introduction. Let's move on to the plant-based processing solutions. We at Tetra Pak, we offer end-to-end line solutions, complete factories to the food industry. I just wanted to start highlighting what I will focus on today. That is the processing part of the factory. But we have, of course, the capabilities to build the complete factories from raw material intake all the way to final goods on pallet. I'd like to stay on this slide for a while because I think this is key for you to understand plant-based products. Let me see if I can use a laser pointer here. This is one of our best practice processing lines. This one is to produce oat beverage. We work with best practice lines, standard lines, and that is normally our starting point in customer discussions. Of course, each customer have their unique requirements and needs. So we have a flexible mindset, and as you can see on this slide, it's a modular design, so we can change and tweak the line depending on customer needs. But what you see here is a standard line to produce oat beverage. We offer dry handling, visualized here with a big bag station. It could be that if the volume, the capacity is high, it could be that there are silos here instead, dry with to store the dry raw material. And then we provide pneumatic transfer from the storage, from the big bag station or the silo, a pneumatic transferring solution to transfer the dry raw material into the first wet unit here, where we are including water. This unit here is a grinding module. So we transfer the dry raw material here. In this case, it could be oat grains or oat flakes from the storage. And we also add preheated water into this unit. We blend the water and the oat grains together. So the oat is stored in this dry hopper. It's fed with a rotary feeding valve into this below wet section, where we add the preheated water, and then we grind it into a slurry in steps. So with this unit, we create an oat slurry in this case, with two wet grinders. This unit is running continuously, so we're continuously feeding dry oat raw material and preheated water. And here we also add the enzymes that Janis is supplying. The first enzymes are added already here into this unit. So you can say 3 ingredients, water, oat, and enzymes. And we continuously feed the downstream tanks, the enzyme treatment tanks, with this oat slurry. With 3 tanks, you can run continuously. You fill up 1 tank, and when that one is full, you switch and start to fill up the next tank, and then you start to empty the first tank while you are filling up the third one. So they are continuously filled and emptied during the operational time or run time. I'm sure Janis will cover this more in detail, but it could be a 1-step enzyme treatment. It can be a 2-step enzyme treatment, depending on customer requirements. After enzyme treatment, the product is continuously transferred to enzyme deactivation unit. This unit here is our premium unit. It is a unit where we inject direct steam into the product. We have a holding time. It is this small tank in the back there, followed by a very fast flash cooling. This is a flash vessel. So we have an instant heating, instant cooling to deactivate the enzymes that has been added here and also here in the enzyme treatment step. Then the slurry is deactivated, and it contains, depending on raw material, it contains some soluble components that is not non-soluble components that normally is removed, and this is done by a decanter, like a separator. We remove the fibers here with the centrifugal force. So one slurry is coming in here, still a continuous process, and we remove the solids, the fibers, into a dry phase, and then you have a centrate, a liquid phase, that is what we would like to keep, and that is ending up in the intermediate storage tanks. Cool down, and then it ends up in the intermediate storage tanks, ready to be formulated into any kind of plant-based product. Could be a beverage. Someone mentioned in the introduction that they want to know more about fermented products. This is where you connect the fermentation line. Then if you want to create plant-based fermented products, you take this, in this case, oat base, and send it to a fermentation line that could be next to this beverage line. So to summarize, dry handling, slurry preparation, enzyme treatment, enzyme deactivation, removing solids, non-soluble components, and you end up with the oat base to be formulated into a variety of different plant-based products. In this case, since this is an oat beverage line, the next step is to add the dry and liquid ingredients, and you do that with a high shear mixer normally. So you circulate the oat base from the tank to the mixer and back, and then you add the different ingredients required for your final beverage. Could be calcium carbonate, it could be buffer salts if you're into if you would like to produce a barista product. Oil, vegetable oil is normally added. Yeah, it depends on the final product, what you add here, but both liquid and dry ingredients are added, normally added to formulate your final beverage. When the beverage is prepared, you need to sterilize it, and this is one of our sterilizers. It's a direct UHT unit with either injection or infusion heating, followed by a flash cooler. So in this unit, you have instant heating, a holding time to ensure that you have a proper sterilization, followed by a flash cooling. This is a homogenizer, normally situated downstream the heat treatment to create the optimal mouthfeel in your final product. The sterilized product ends up in an aseptic tank to delink the capacity of the upstream process and the downstream packaging line. So this is a standard oat beverage processing system. Starting from grains, but of course we have solutions also to handle to prepare beverages if the customers would like to start from flour, or if they source an already prepared oat concentrate. If you start from flour, you use a mixer instead of a grinder, and if the customer source already prepared oat concentrate, they only need the downstream formulation followed by the sterilizer. So it depends on which solution the customers prefer, how the line is configured. This is a close-up on the grinding module, how that one looks like. This is how we design slurry preparation from flour. It could be small sacks, it could be big bags, and if you use a silo, you connect an intermediate hopper to the storage silos. So no matter refinement level of your raw material, we can support our customers with a solution to prepare the plant-based slurry. I think that Janis will cover this, so I will just move very quickly here. You can add your enzymes. You need to add a few of the alpha amylase, the enzymes that break down the starch already in the slurry preparation, and then you can add other enzymes in 1 or 2 steps depending on the functionality you're looking for, but it depends on customer case by case. We have different heat treatment units. Most of our plant-based lines customers are using the unit I explained in the line overview slide, the direct UHT with the injection heating, the one to the left here. But we also can offer indirect heating or multi-mode units where you can basically run all different kinds of heating technologies in one unit. For soy beverages, the units required for a soy beverage is similar to an oat beverage, but as you can see here in this picture, the modules are positioned in a different order. We use a grinding module to prepare the soy slurry, followed by decanters to remove the solids. You can go with one, or you can use 1 or 2 decanters. If you use 2 decanters, you achieve a better protein yield. We have a a special solution for that to improve protein yield by using 2 decanters instead of 1. Enzyme deactivation is required also for soy beverage processing, but this is to deactivate natural occurring enzymes in the soybean, the so-called trypsin inhibitors. The trypsin inhibitors are naturally occurring in the soybean, preventing the human body to pick up the trypsin. So they are deactivated by heat in this processing. For plant-based processing, there are a lot of anti-nutritional components that needs to be taken care of. This is just one example, and very often they are deactivated by adding heat. But there are other ways to do it as well. After the trypsin inhibition step, the soy base ends up in intermediate storage tanks, and then the procedure is the same as for the oat line. You prepare a beverage out of it, adding different ingredients, and there's a sterilization, a septic tank, and then downstream the packaging line follows. For soy, it is more common to use indirect heating. If 95% of our oat beverage producers are using direct, for soy beverages it's more 30% direct and the rest is indirect. And there are different reasons for that. Using an indirect, you save energy, and soy beverages are not as reluctant to generate fouling. So when you produce soy beverages, you can achieve a decent running time also with an indirect unit. And then benefit from the saving in steam. While when you're producing oat beverages tend to create more fouling, so you need a more robust, versatile unit and to ensure you have a good running time, and then the direct unit is the preferred one. It will also deliver the best premium taste profile. Talking about oat beverages, that is the direct unit is delivering the best taste profile. Okay, next, plant-based product innovations.
Well, I just want to remind you of the time that you have probably like about 5-6 minutes left. So
okay, I'll move on. Very
just
quick.
so you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So our ambition is to reduce our waste and water and greenhouse gases by 50% by 2030. And I'll give you some plant-based, I'll present very quickly some plant-based innovations where we are focusing on food waste. Remember the line I showed you? We have this decanter removing the solids, so creating a waste stream. We have invented a whole grain or whole bean soy beverage. So what we do is we remove the decanter, we bypass the decanter, and we keep 100% of the bean in the final beverage. By doing so, we increase the nutrition, we reduce the total cost of the line, total cost of ownership. Since we don't have any waste, we improve the environmental profile of the beverage. And with this unique processing method, we still have a creamy mouthfeel and a nice taste profile. So how are we doing this? We bypass the decanter and then we include a fine grinding step instead. So we grind the non-soluble components into very small particles, way below 100 microns. And then you have a good mouthfeel, even if you have these non-soluble components in there. So this is a very nice solution, eliminating a lot of waste in the food industry. Let's move on. It has been launched, and we have quite a few commercial success cases in Asia. And we believe that the next step is to launch this in Europe. So hopefully you will see more of these products out on the market very soon here in Europe as well. I'll share this presentation. You can have a look at this data yourself after the meeting. But it goes without saying, I mean, if you keep more of the raw material in the product, you save a lot of you save on the raw material. You also save water, since the waste includes water. You can produce more of the same from the same raw material. We now take this to the next step, and Q1 this year we will launch a processing solution for whole grain oat beverage. It is the same thinking. We keep all the good stuff from the grain or the flake in the beverage, and we will have no waste. Today the waste is about 20% of the raw material wasted in a conventional oat beverage, and with this solution 100% of the raw material will be used in the beverage. Another innovation from us is in the brewing industry. There is a lot of waste from when you are producing beer, brew spent grain, and we have developed a processing solution to prepare a beverage out of this waste. A nutritious, high protein, high fiber beverage to reclaim all the spent grain out there, very often sent to biogas production, or even worse, sent to landfill. So here are some prototypes, inspirational prototype pictures, what you can do with brew spent grain. Hopefully we will see more of these products on the market very soon, reclaiming more food, keep the food waste in the value chain. We have innovation centers all around the world where we continuously develop our solutions. So together with customers, we are continuously develop new product innovations and processing solutions. Yep, this is my final slide. Happy to answer questions if there are any. And if we have time, sorry about this, if I took a little bit too long.
That's okay. Thank you, Ola. Thank you so much. And thank you for providing this information about the line solutions. I think this gives us a good outlook to how to really, if you're not really in this space already, to, at least for me, to kind of understand, okay, what are the different steps and what do we have to move through? Let's open the space. Do anyone on the call, you can drop it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and just ask a question if you have one now. Let's just see if anyone has one. Yeah, Seamus?
Yeah, hi, Ola. Thank you very much for a nice presentation. I just wanted to ask you in relation to the processing options, which you took us through very nicely schematically there. They clearly, work really well for greenfield sites and new plants, etc. If we were looking at an existing dairy company with some of that existing technology, to what extent can existing processes be retrofitted or redesigned to handle plant-based alternatives?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to move fast to the market and you have the downstream equipment, the formulation and the sterilizer, you could then source the plant-based raw material as a concentrate or a compound, And then you would need to upgrade your sterilizer to also so it can handle the plant-based processing products as well. It's not, but it is possible to produce both milk and plant-based product in the same sterilizers, but you need to consider a few different aspects to get this flexibility. But then, of course, you have the allergen aspect to it as well. If you want to produce dairy products and plant-based product in the same line, that's a risk assessment each company needs to do them by themselves. For sure, there are those companies out there doing that, so it's possible for sure.
Yeah.
But if you want to start from the raw material, you need to invest in the upstream line, what we call the extraction line that I showed in the picture.
Yeah, and of course, in some cases that can be done perhaps by another company or supplier, and then start at a slightly later stage in the production process by recombining ingredients.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, there are co-packers sourcing their oat base or soy base or whatever, and then they just do the final formulation. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I also just wanted to quickly ask you about the fine grinding option for the whole grain processing. Is that existing, or was that existing technology when it was introduced first, deployed to this application, or is it something entirely new that has been developed for production of whole grain options?
We developed this around 1980 for soybeans, and then we have of course improved it. Yeah, and then it was a new innovation. I mean, there was no grinding module before that, so to say. But then of course we have improved it to make it more flexible or versatile to handle all different kinds of plant-based products out there. Okay. It is you needed, I mean, the soybean and the oat grain, the shape is very different, requiring a very flexible first grinding step to handle different shapes, different different raw materials are also have different densities, so you need to consider that as well.
Sure. Okay. Thank you very much, Ola. Thank you. I'm conscious that Koos wants to come in there as well.
Yeah, hi Koos. I saw you had a question as well. Thank you, Seamus.
Yeah, good
Koos,
morning.
do you want to jump? Yeah, good morning.
Okay. Yeah, good morning. I'm Koos de Vries from the Netherlands. I have some questions about the heat treatments you applying. As I have it, I did see it quite well. You have 2 heat treatments incorporated in your process.
Right.
For so a deactivation step it was, and also an later on a stabilization step, I think.
Yeah. Try to.
Why do you need 2 steps?
So let's go back to this line then, if we have time. So this is for enzyme deactivation, to deactivate the enzymes you've added here. And of course, I mean, it's also used to reduce the microbial load for the storage tanks. If you have a heat treatment here, you ensure that you kill the Bacillus cereus, and then you can safely use this oat base for various different applications, including like oat fermented products or oat yogurts, if I may call it that. So that could be one reason to include the heat treatment here, to not only deactivate the enzymes, but also to reduce the microbial load and make the product safe for other applications. Also,
may I ask also something? Sorry to interrupt you, but which temperature combination do you apply in this first step? Can you say something about that?
Yeah.
Is it a sort of thermization step? Or?
Yeah, it is. It's not a sterilization. It's a pasteurization, you can say. Very often for oat, we use 110 and 80 seconds, and then we ensure that we also kill Bacillus cereus. Some customers are using lower temperatures, but then you need to increase the time quite significantly to get the same deactivation of enzymes.
Yeah.
If you are working at 90-95 degrees, then you need a much longer time. And to be honest, depending on enzymes used, but not the enzymes are not fully deactivated in these storage tanks. They are very often not fully deactivated. So you need the UHT treatment also to support with the deactivation of the enzymes.
Okay.
So yeah, this is a bit complex, because if you want to prepare a plant-based yogurt from your oat base, then it could be very important that some of the enzymes are deactivated, because in the yogurt process, often plant-based yogurts, if I may call it that, then you add starch. And if you then have active enzymes here breaking down starch, then you can understand that there is a complication. How you set up this unit depends a lot on which enzymes you are using, and your other how the which applications you will use your base for.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
If you allow me
Thank you
also to comment a bit here, Ola, I don't think it's absolutely needed, this step, right? Depending, as you said, on the final application, if it's a drink. And I'm sure you have a lot of customers that they don't have this step necessarily included, right? You can just rely on the UHT. Of course, if you make a base for fermented products, probably you need it, yes, as you mentioned, just to also add my
yeah. There are so many different aspects. I totally agree. It can also be removed, but what we have seen sometimes, if you remove it, you need to be you need to look into if the UHT treatment is enough to deactivate the enzymes to the level you are looking for. But absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for the questions, Koos and Seamus. I just want to share my screen again. Ola, thank you so much. I'm gonna ask the participants now a few questions before we jump straight over to Yanis. So just give me 1 second here, and we'll see if this works better second time around. Let's hope that's the case. Okay, so you still have the link in your chat, so you should be able to see it there. And I would love to know what part of Ola's presentation now surprised you the most or has made you think. Yep, I'll make this QR. Let's see if it works. Cross my toes and fingers. I wonder if it's still our network. I'm just going to update here again. Let's see. Yeah. It's still not really running as it should be. I don't know what is happening. This is the risk when you do something like this. You never know if the ITs decide it's going to work. Okay, so there are a few comments here. The extra heat treatment, the whole bean grain beverages. Yeah. The possibilities around whole grain processing. So I also want to add to this that there will be a teacher toolkit where the different case studies from today, the different presenters will be added to there, and also teachers' experiences. I haven't got all the videos yet, so you'll receive that. I'll let you know basically through a link, but one of the case studies that were submitted was by Norbert Rack, and that also speaks to this. It's a research project around the seed cakes that how you can use the side stream of the pulp or whatever and ferment that and work with it. So if you're more interested in that, I would recommend you go and watch that. Okay, I'll just update this one more. Let's see.
I can just comment on that you need a specific line for each grain. Yeah, that is true, but we build also multi-purpose line where you can produce both soy and oat in the same line. That is possible as well. Just to
Thank you.
To avoid misunderstanding. Yeah.
The next question here. What's one point you're taking with you from Ola's presentation? Let's see. Normally, I can also see how many people have access to this, but it doesn't even show that, so I don't really know. Yeah, okay, now there's definitely something with our server here. Okay, there is another question after that, but I think as this is not working right now, I don't want to spend more time. Oh, here we go. The global process, all solutions, new problems. Yeah, interesting. Following, that there's differences between the different products, obviously, or raw materials you're using. Okay, and finally, before we move on to Yanis, which area of plant-based would you be most interested in sharing with your students? So if you were going to teach, or maybe you could integrate it into your current teaching practice, what aspect would you be more interested in? Is it the processing? Is it the product? Is it the challenges? Yeah, there could be lots of different things here. Yeah, the challenges, processing. Yeah, okay. Okay, good. And you can always, I think you can go back as well and add a comment if you didn't get to do it now. So I'll leave that there. Okay, and let's move on because it's Yanis' turn now. So Yanis Amakidis from Novonesis will now talk to us about more the enzyme side of things. And he's Senior Industry Technology Specialist. So another expert on the field here. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you've got to share today, Yanis. And I'll stop sharing now and you can take over when you're ready.
So I can share my screen. Okay.
Yes,
Better.
please.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that would be better when you
I
have
think
full
so.
control.
Yes, one moment. Yes, so thank you very much for inviting me. Yes, my name is Yannis Amakidis. I'm based in Switzerland, and I've been part of what we call nowadays Novonesis, former Novozymes. For the last 14 years, I have worked across different industries, but the last 3-4 years heavily involved in plant-based drinks and ingredients. So I'm very happy to be able to present to you our solutions. But first, maybe I give you a small a hint of what we're going to talk about. So a small presentation about Novonesis, because Novonesis is a relatively new company consisting of 2 old companies. So maybe you know to know a bit more about it. And then a few marketing insights on plant-based drinks and especially oat drinks, oat and applications, although that was also covered very nicely from Ola. And of course, how enzymes can help you adjust the sweetness, the mouthfeel, the protein content. So a lot of examples around that. So Novonesis was formed about a year and a half, almost now, maybe for 14, 15 months. It's the merge of Novozymes and Christian Hansen. I hope you recognize both names. Christian Hansen was a leader in cultures and probiotics, and Novozymes in industrial enzymes. And the new company is called Novonesis. Nesis coming from the Greek word Genesis, which means birth, and Novo from the new. So quite innovative company, we hope we are. So a little bit about us. Our purpose is really to improve the world with biology. We have more than 10,000 employees worldwide, almost 4 billion euros revenue. We heavily invest in R&D, and the proof of that is we have almost 10,000 patents. and our 10% of our revenue is invested on R&D. We have 40 R&D and application centers around the world, 20 manufacturing sites or more. And our aim on the sustainability side is to reach a net zero by 2050. And of course, we try to be quite diverse across gender, but also, from ethnic background. I mean, that's really something I enjoy about Novozymes. No matter what is your background, ethnic, religious, sexual, whatever, you are very well accepted and integrated. So this is a snapshot, the industries we are predominantly present. So, I mean, all the detergents you are using, or most of them, probably contain our enzymes. We're very active also in bioenergy and animal health. But also when it comes down to food applications, we are very strong in baking with our fresh keeping solutions. We are also quite active in plant-based foods, in dairy, in infant nutrition. So it's very few industries that we are not one way or the other present. Of course, consumers don't know much about us because we are clearly one B2B company. But that's a little bit about us. And now a few slides on the plant-based drinks, and especially the oat drinks market, the way we see it. So this is a projection of how we expect things to evolve. You can see that the overall market is growing, and the oat is particularly growing. We see a growth in Europe and the US of the oat market to be around 15% year after year. And also we see two trends. One that you're probably already familiar with, in the oat drink segment, you have the organic, but this seems to be being reduced, and the conventional is gaining more momentum. And of course, the new thing that's coming up is the barista drinks. I guess if you go to most shops in your neighborhood, you see that nowadays they have the regular drinks and the barista drinks. So that's also a big change, right? And allows for the use of very innovative enzymes. Now, why plant-based drinks are popular? I think one reason, among others, is the sustainability perspective. This is from an article published in a Swiss newspaper some years ago that compares the CO2 footprint if one would consume 1 glass of milk per day. So you can see that, of course, because dairy milk is produced from cows, right? And that requires a lot of CO2 consumption. That's a lot there, while the plant-based drinks is much, much less. And the newspaper converted that into kilometers of drive. So again, if you consume 1 glass per day, it's like driving your car for almost 1,300 kilometers if you're drinking dairy milk, but 1/3 of that if you are consuming a plant-based drink. So I think that's an interesting fact. Also on the water, again, dairy milk, but also almond requires a lot of water in the production process, while oat drink very, very little, right? And again, the newspaper converted that into number of showers. So if you drink a glass of milk every day, it's like taking 2 showers, while if you drink oat drink, you take a shower every 3rd day. So yeah, that's another fun fact. Now about oat and its applications, I'm sure most of you familiar with oat. Has a very positive image in the market as a health ingredient. I guess it's mainly due to the beta-glucan. Also, there's a possibility of making some claims around cholesterol level if you consume above a certain level. But it's also rich in different minerals and antioxidants. So it's considered really a good starting point from both from a nutritional perspective, but sustainability. But I believe the reason that made it be more popular and gaining market share is that it tastes better, right? It really tastes good compared to other kind of drinks, and that really helps because taste is very important in the end. I don't need to go much into detail here. I think Ola captured that, but typically a producer will start either with oat kernels, dehashed oat kernels, or oat flour. It's important that the raw material is heat treated to avoid any bitterness formations from the naturally present lipoxygenase and lipases of the oat. But this is typically done on the oatmeal side. And then the most, let's say, important part of the oat flour is the oat starch. That is about 50 to 65% and consists of 1/3, let's say, amylose, which is the linear structure you see on the right. So glucose units linked to each other in a kind of a helix. Or the 2/3, which is the more highly branched amylopectin that you see down here. The enzymes, at least our enzymes, would work on both. And why we would need the enzymes here is you can see here we have a research done asking customers what they would make them to consume more, let's say, oat drinks or plant-based drinks in general versus cow's milk. And one was the taste, the nutrition, lower price. It is true that the plant-based drinks sometimes are, at least in my neighborhood, but I have seen that across in other countries, are more expensive than cow's milk, and better texture and mouthfeel. So we hope we can support our customers so we can bring solutions that would help to improve the nutritional properties, change the sweetness, improve the mouthfeel. We can guide our customers during scale up, and we have organic and non-organic compliant properties. And of course, recently we are also stepping into the barista drinks with Vertera rice, but also with another product we'll be launching in May. So this is a very interesting area for us. This is in a snapshot our portfolio. I'm not sure if we need to go through each and every detail. I will explain to you a little bit more, the different kinds of enzymes we have. But you will receive these presentations and you have the details. What is important to keep in mind is that our enzymes are really suitable for plant-based drinks when it comes down to temperature and pH. Now, this is a video. I hope it will play. Let's see. I believe actually this is from a trial we did in Tetra Pak Singapore some years ago. Here you have the oat and water, which is your starting point. And it's a very viscous slurry when you heat up the starch, which is very difficult to process. And then when you add a few drops of enzymes, of our liquefying enzymes, you can see that you can greatly reduce the viscosity. And that is the starting point in our product portfolio. So it's called Vertera Liquefy, formerly known as BAN 480L. It's an enzyme that is quite aggressive and heat stable. It would break down the starch into dextrins, as you can see here, but also has a beta-glucanate side activity that would help to further reduce the viscosity because oat especially has a lot of beta-glucans and they add a lot to the viscosity. So this would be the first, let's say, step in the way we think of the process, which is very much similar to what Ola described earlier. So you will start with water or flour, or if it's groats, right? And then you make this slurry, and that's where you need to add Vertera Liquefy to control the viscosity and also break down the starch into dextrins. That would enable the other enzymes in the second step after cooling down in what we call the saccharification step to work and make the drink more sweet, either creating some maltose or some glucose. And then typically we have the decanting, the formulation, the UHT, homogenization, and packaging. But I believe these things were already covered, right? So how can we adjust the sweetness? Well, we have a lot of enzymes to do that. One typical one is called Vertera sweet, also known as Vertera fungamil in the past. So this enzyme would break down the dextrins, creating mainly maltose. It's an endo-acting enzyme and would create mainly maltose. These kinds of drinks are more popular in Northern Europe, while in Southern Europe, consumers prefer more sweet drinks. And there we have Vertera sweetase, which is amyloglucosidase. This enzyme is an exo-acting, and it will cut here and the dextrins and create mainly glucose. So we have the tools to play around. And here is an example of how these two enzymes compare in performance. So on the left-hand side, you can see by increasing the dosage of an amyloglucosidase, Vertera sweetase, you increase the glucose content, the purple line, and that leads to an increase of the relative sweetness, but you also create some maltose. Now, if you want to make more maltose, then best to go with Vertera sweet than Vertera sweetase. That would create definitely much more maltose than this one. So we have the tools to create any kind of sweetness you want and also adjust the viscosity, as we discussed. Of course, these enzymes, both of them, they need to be added at a lower temperature. They're not so stable. Of course, it could also be done in a one-step process around 62, 65 degrees. And it's becoming more and more of a trend due to the energy prices going up, right? Especially with the war in Ukraine. But it is also true that the majority of our customers typically prefer this two-step process, but a good number of them are now moving to one step. But if you were to do the two-step process, you will start, as we said, again with this liquefaction, then cool down, and add the enzymes at the temperature around 50 to 60 degrees. And the rest of the process would be absolutely the same. Now, some innovative ideas about improving the foam and mouthfeel. As we said, barista is a segment that is growing. Also, it's a segment that the barista drinks are more expensive than the regular old drinks, right? So there is room for innovation. And there we launched about a year ago Vertera Rice, which is an enzyme that would break down the proteins into peptides. It's quite specific in its action. So it will not really create a lot of bitterness, which is rather important for this kind of application. And the benefits it will bring will be more protein and longer lasting foam. And also it's an enzyme that can easily be added in the process, again, in the saccharification step, together with the saccharification enzymes. The mechanism of action is basically, as you can see here, it breaks down the protein in a not very aggressive way. That helps to increase the soluble protein, and that also leads to a higher total protein, leading to more foam. So we believe the mechanism behind the action is the more soluble protein that is created. And again, in the process, easy to add, around 50-55 in this two-step process. It would be difficult to add it in a one step because usually one step is above 60 degrees and then the enzyme would lose a lot of its activity. So if you plan to use it, better go for a two-step process, adding the enzyme at 50-55 degrees. Have another video here. Let's see if it plays just to show you the benefit. It doesn't play. Let's see, maybe from here. So it doesn't seem to be. It was a nice video, showed you how much it foams, but for some reason I don't know, I cannot make it. Maybe if I go out of the presentation. Here it is, down here. Yes. All right, so now I will play. So you can see 2 drinks. See, yes. So on the left, you have a commercial oat drink, and on the right, you have a drink treated with Vertera rice. You can see, I hope, a huge improvement, right, on the foamability. Please ignore the color difference. That has nothing to do with the enzyme. Has to do with the raw material used in each case. But I hope on the foam it's very clear. You get much more foam, and it's a very long-lasting foam as well. So something to consider. And then, of course, we have, as I already mentioned, have capabilities of increasing the protein content of the drinks. A common, let's say, disadvantage of the plant-based drinks is the low protein compared to milk, right? That also comes up in different consumer surveys we have been doing. And again, with Vertera rice, we can go above 1% in the amount of protein per 100 ml of drink. And you can see here a comparison versus my laser pointer. So here we have a control drink, plant no drink with no Vertera rice. So protein about 0.5, 0.6, and with Vertera rice we can almost double it. We also have another solution called Vertera juice that is suitable for organic. That also delivers some improvement, but not so much as with Vertera rice. And then I think that's my last slide for today. We are also looking, and we have solutions into the zero sugar drinks. That also is becoming more and more popular. And what we propose here is a use of a low dosage of BAN, of Vertera liquefy, combined with Vertera release, viscozyme. Vertera release is a xalanase, beta-glucanase, mainly beta-glucanase and xalanase, that would help to reduce the viscosity and improve the mouthfeel. So we believe also that's a good solution for a zero sugar drink that's becoming more and more popular these days. Yes, so that's my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be very happy to answer them.
Great, thank you so much, Yanis. So let's see. Really interesting how much work these enzymes can do for us. It's pretty incredible, huh?
Yeah, I'll go back to where we have the enzyme list. Maybe there's some questions around that.
Yeah, let's see. Has anyone got a question for Yanis?
Okay.
There's one here.
It was not too confusing.
No, I don't think so. There's Koos, the floor is yours.
Yeah, okay. A question from my side. Thank you for your presentation. Maybe you said it, but
yes,
the protein content is the last part of your presentation. The protein can rise a bit. Where does it come from? Is it from the enzyme you add, or what is the origin of it?
Basically, no. As I mentioned, I mean, you have roughly when you start, let's say, to make an oat drink, you use, let's say, if you take oat flour, that will have about 12 to 14% protein, right? And let's assume that you have about 10% of this flour in your slurry. So you start from 1.2 to 1.4, but a big part of it is lost in the decanting process, right? That Ola explained, because it's not so soluble, right? So with the help of this enzyme, then you solubilize it much more, and you recover much more in the liquid stream after the decanting. That's the theory behind it. And we also have a lot of data now that support the theory, right? It's not just the theory.
That's the mechanism, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sure. Yes, of course.
Good. Okay, and there's also, oh, sorry. Ola,
if I may add there, I didn't talk much about it, but this whole oat grain solution that we are now launching, then everything is included in the beverage. So we are increasing the protein content with 60% and the fiber with 200%. So it's perhaps it will disrupt the plant-based business a bit. Yeah, just to add on this.
Yes.
Yanis, this is an invitation to you to create an even more powerful enzyme. I think
we're not. No, that's fine. But I mean, it's good not to lose anything of the protein. But also, let's keep in mind that these enzymes, I mean, especially Vertera rice and what's coming next in May, from our side, would also improve the functionality of the protein. So you even in this process, I think they will deliver a benefit on higher formability in the barista. So of course, yes, probably the protein solubility would not be so important, but the formability would still be an advantage that would come with the use of enzymes. So
yeah, we will still need your enzymes, Yanni. Sure.
I hope.
For
I
sure.
hope you don't put us out of business, Ola.
No, we are not competing. We are not competing. No.
No, definitely not.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
Any final questions here at the very end? Let's see. No, well, I just think it's really interesting how, and maybe this is something I'm thinking about when we're communicating about this stuff to students as well, is really to open that horizon and to see it more as an exploration when we work with these sorts of things, that it's an innovative process. There's lots of space to be curious here, which is probably a bit of a shift in mindset and thinking compared to if you've been in dairy for many, many, many years and have producing milk, butter, cheese in sort of more traditional ways, that this is really a space for curiosity and this innovative thinking. Both Ola and you, Yannis, have come and have spoken about this, that, yeah, there are challenges, but it's actually also just really big opportunities to explore and figure out what the solutions can be and try new things. Yeah. Okay, good. So let's see if this works now. Like, you guys got to forgive me that I think it's the server that's that's playing up somewhere either on our end on this or this programs. And last time it worked like a dream. So it's painful that it can be so hard. But again, I would love to hear, obviously, what are you taking with you from Yannis's presentation? If for some reason you can't add it on here because it's not working or whatever, you're also welcome to drop it in the chat, but obviously it's not anonymous. So yeah, I would keep that open to you too. Let's see. So something you would like to share with your students from what you've just heard. I'll just update this again and see, and welcome to drop it in the chat as well. To explore the alternative to dairy products. Yeah. How different enzymes can affect different properties, for sure. Yeah, the role of enzymes in functionalizing plant proteins. Yeah, these are really good. Yeah, and I don't know, like, I'm not teaching in the dairy core dairy subjects, so I'm wondering as well how, like, some of this could maybe be added into the current teaching process. It doesn't have to be maybe part of a full plant-based program. It could just be facets of teaching practices, maybe. If we're talking about enzymes already, for example, that there's some good examples here. And so again, obviously a big invitation that you guys can afterwards use these case studies in class if you want to. And also the presentations will be shared and that sort of stuff, right? So you're very welcome to think that into your process as well. Okay, and what plant-based product would you be most interested in trialing and making with your students? So obviously this can be challenging as well when we don't have the equipment and all these sorts of things, but we can do stuff in a small scale way. So I'm curious to know if there's a product that you would be more motivated to do versus others, maybe. Cheese, interesting that cheese is on here. Yeah, oat-based. Yeah, oat, yogurt. I think I would love to see if anyone starts experimenting with making cheese to let us know how it goes. And if you get that all those different properties like we've heard about today with the mouthfeel and the texture and all of that, right? Because I think that's one of the spaces that can be so difficult, right? When it comes to this stuff, because we love our melting cheese and we love our the original cheese we've had for many, many decades. Yeah, drinks. Okay, good. And I think this is the final one. And what do you believe is one essential aspect of teaching plant-based effectively? Maybe why as well. I'll just update one more time, see if... Because obviously there's a big difference between just standing in front of a group of students and telling them things, but to actually ensuring or having the sense that you are conveying your message effectively is something totally different. Yeah. So what does it require to do this? Again, you're welcome to pop it in the chat as well if you feel comfortable with that. See, transferable concepts, yeah. Fundamentals, focus on the science, and practical tryouts. Yeah. Yeah, I could also hear from the teachers here when they were running the plant-based course for the first time recently, that also getting outside, like people from what we've heard today in Tetra Pak, Novanesis, to come in and actually present, some experts to join, especially if you're working in that space yourself, that can also be super helpful, and doing the practical work as well. It challenges us as teachers, right? That's what we have to remember as well, that this is a new space for us too. Yeah, practical trials. Okay, good. To overcome the prejudices, yeah, for sure. Yeah, maybe Yannis's example in the beginning of his presentation with like the milk oat drinks versus car driving and all of this. Like, I don't know if that would be some helpful examples, because I think it can be hard to contextualize sometimes to students, like the scope or like, yeah, how big it is or what we're actually talking about. So maybe something that's more relatable in some way could be helpful. Yeah. Okay, good. So thank you so much, Yannis.
Sure, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Also to you, Ola, you're welcome to hang around if you feel like it. And as we've spoken about, you're also welcome to drop off if you've got other things on your agenda today. But either way, what you choose to do, I just want to say that it's been a pleasure having you here. And I think this will be really useful for the teachers to use and take some bits of information and start to get more information about how this all works and how can we talk about it. Yeah. Because what we will move into now...
I will drop out, but
okay.
But thank you very much for inviting me, and happy to support in the future if I can be of help.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. And
I'll also drop out. Thank you from my side as well.
Okay, thank you, Ola. Thank you both.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm sure if anyone has further questions down the line, you're always welcome to just email me and we can put you in contact with Ola or Yannis, and you're also welcome to reach out to them. I'm sure that won't be a problem if there are further questions.
Happy to support.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so
Goodbye.
We will move on to the next part of this session, which is a breakout session. And so we tried this last time. Now I tried to tweak it a little bit to see if this will work in maybe a more smooth way. So we'll see. We'll see. It's all an experimentation. If part of this concept of these conferences is obviously also trying these digital tools, trying these different digital skills, and see how we can apply them and how we can use them to convey messages and teaching and that sort of thing. And as you can see with the AHA slide, last time it worked great. This time maybe not so much. And we'll see if that's the same with this next part here. But what will happen now is that I will shoot you out into groups of minimum 3 people, ideally a little bit more. I can see we have 34 people on the call. So yeah, we'll have about 10 groups or something like that. And what will happen is that we will have a chair in each group. So the person with the longest hair will be the chair. The chair will be the one who sort of makes sure that we cover all the bases. We go through the task at hand, that everyone has time to speak. So there is one lead in each group. The chair can also be the one who fills in this collaborative board that we're going to be using. Okay, so please message me now if there are any questions as we go along, and I will drop all of this information into the chat as well. It will also be on the board, but I'm just going to go through it from top down, and yeah, you can let me know as we go. Okay, so the group you will be put into, your task is to fill out this SWOT analysis where you'll be looking at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and what am I missing? Threats, yeah. And so the question is, teaching plant-based production in VET, in our educations, right? What are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? So we've spoken a little bit to some of it now, but it would be really great to see what output you can come with together. So we're going to do that, and then we'll have a little follow-up session afterwards. Then there will be a break, and then we'll have the last presenter on for the day. So I hope you won't all disappear as I send you into the groups. Stay put. So I'll send you the instructions. You'll be sent into the groups. The task is to fill out your group's SWOT analysis. So there are 10 of them in there, and you just pick one and start into it. You can see if someone else is writing in it because their name will be jumping around on it. So in that way, I think it will be hopefully pretty clear once you get to it, because I don't know if you'll be told what group you are by the machine here. So obviously, when you go into the group, first bit, take a minute or so to just present yourself. Who are you? Where do you work? What's your sort of part in this, your role in all of this? Do you teach plant-based, for example? Yeah, so just take a brief round of that. Any questions? Okay. I will take the silence as a good thing. So let's just see if I've got this copied correctly. I'll drop all the information in the chat now, and the link to the board that you'll be filling out. And this is Miro that we'll be using. Some of you might be familiar with it. Let's see if this will send. No. Yeah. So here I've told you, take turns saying your name, institution, or workplace. And then a speed round on if you teach plant-based where you work, just so we have a sense of that as well. And then take the rest of the time to consider what we've learned so far and what we already have information. Some of you will be more knowledgeable in this space, some not so much. So it's a collaborative effort to fill in the analysis, and you click the link here and you should be able to access it. Please let me know if this does not work. If someone cannot access this, then I'll maybe have a meltdown, but we'll see. Okay, and so let's see, groups wise, that's the next step here. Let's see. People in each. Okay, let me see my math. Sure. Okay, I think we'll go with this here. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to create the rooms. Let's just see. Okay, let me know in the chat if there are any, or just put your hand up or speak out loud if there are any issues. So all the rooms have 4 people and 2 rooms have 3 people. Okay. And let's see if this works. Sometimes people don't get sent into rooms either. So we'll see. This is another challenge with this. Anyone not sure about the task at hand, what they're going to be doing for the next 20 minutes? So I'm going to be calling you back at probably a few minutes past 11. So it's a quick round. So be short and brief in your explanations and your presentations of yourself as well. Just like really briefly say who you are so you can move on to the SWOT analysis. Okay. And I think it will send you out now. We're moving people to assigned rooms. Yes, great. So let's see. I'll give you a warning to come back, so I'll call you back. Okay, here we go. On hold, on hold. Yes.
Hi.
plant-based products, and yeah, that's it, I would say.
Yeah. So you are a little bit experienced.
Yeah, very little. And how about you?
I'm not a teacher. I work within
Hey,
learning
Daniela.
food, so a big global dairy company. You might be familiar with us. We are also in Germany. I'm part of the CoVE project in Denmark, and I'm also part of the overall steering committee for the CoVE project. So that's why I'm here. But I'm like Cecilia. I don't know a lot about dairy processing and dairy technology because I have a very different background, but I try to understand as much as I can. And in Arla, we have a big interest in making sure that the people who go to college get the information they need or get knowledge within new areas as well as more traditional areas. So therefore, plant-based is important for us as well.
Yeah, is Arla already implementing a plant-based processing line, or do they have one already?
We at least I'm based in Denmark, so I'm most familiar with the Danish part of Arla, and we have more than 20 different production sites. So they are very specialized, for example, within UHT or within butter or within other areas. And several of our dairies do have production within the plant-based space. So we've been doing oat drinks, we've been doing plant-based butter, we've been doing plant-based yogurts and other different things. As far as I know, we haven't done any plant-based cheeses so far, but maybe it's just me not being updated. There might be activities within that area as well. So we are doing things within this area, but obviously milk is much bigger for us still. But we try to be innovative within this area as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Hi, Cyril.
Hi. I think I've
Hello.
switched groups.
Line that is.
You're switching groups?
Yeah, I don't know why I was in a group and then I was.
That are producing.
It's not your fault. It happens. Let's see.
Oat drinks, I think.
Let's see.
Okay.
Sorry. No, oat.
Who are you with?
Okay.
With Christina Dominitrescu,
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
So,
I see you.
Vivian, do you see the chat?
And I don't know why I was
Because
ejected of the
see
room.
the chat for our small meeting room, but not the chat that. So do you see the link we needed to look into the SWOT analysis?
I don't know why you've been sent back.
I also see only our chat.
Yeah, I'll just check if I can see it in another way.
Okay, I just need to help this other group.
I just go out
No worries.
Hang on.
Yeah, I think.
For some reason, we can hear them. I don't know.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Well, Daniela, you are in this room with me for some reason. I don't know why.
Hang on, because I have to.
But I can also hear. I can also hear the other group.
That, so I'll just see if I
Yeah,
can
but it
make
seems
it
that
work.
my mic. Hello.
Let's
Hello.
see. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Unfortunately, my camera is not working, but
It's okay.
I hear you.
Hello, I'm Daniela Borda. I'm from the Faculty of Food Science and Engineering from Dunărea de Jos University of Galați, Romania. I'm teaching dairy, but I'm not teaching plant-based. So yeah, this is new somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we are also partners in CoVE project. So yeah, nice meeting you all.
Nice to meet you too, Daniela.
Have you heard us or listened to us, or did you just came into?
No, I've heard you. I've tried to connect myself on Miro, and I was trying to speak there, and it was some kind. I heard Cecile, and then I was here. So yes, I've heard your presentation.
Okay.
Daniela, could you make the Miro work? Because it looks as if I need to sign in and then it asks for a password and I don't know what the password is. And I haven't received anything on my email at least.
No, well, I had the same problem with Miro, with signing in Miro, but somehow I've selected.
Did you manage to make it work?
Yeah, I've just selected my Gmail account. And then I did not need any password. It appears that probably I did that in the past. I was signing in on Miro and it recognized me. But in the beginning, it was the same. They have asked for a password. The password recommended was very complicated, but it did not work.
Okay. But fortunately, now we don't know how long Vivian's hair is, but I can see that you do have the longest hair of the two of us. So you're probably the one
yes, I'm
writing anyway.
Yes, thank you. I was thinking that. I was like, maybe I should do like that.
I just got a haircut last week, so I'm relieved.
Very lucky.
So I'm not able to share my screen with you to do
that's
this.
True. That's funny.
But it's a bit strange. Maybe you can also try to sign in on Miro. So you did not manage to do that. You did not, because now I can see the board on Miro. And we can write something. I was writing SWOT here on the blackboard. And then let me go back. How should we proceed? Vivian, can you enter the Miro? Can you see the
No, I haven't got the link. Do you have the link?
The link was on chat.
Yeah, but I don't see it anymore.
Oh, I'll just put it in the our team chat if we have access to that one.
Okay, well, let's see. Yeah, I have to get a free Miro account, it says.
Yeah, I know. Probably I was somehow registered before, and from my computer, I was identified with my Google account.
Okay, no, I'm not.
If you're not, maybe you should do yourself an account, but it will take a bit probably. I don't know if we should spend time on that, or we should just discuss among us, and I will be writing some things on Miro.
I think that would be best.
Yeah.
Probably, because it seems a little bit
complicated
to get access.
Yeah, for us to be all there. Yeah.
So it's something about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in terms of teaching plant-based.
Plant-based, yes. So we should start with the strengths. What do you think? Which you would consider a strength in teaching plant-based?
I guess there are a lot of, I'm not trained within dairy, but it seems to me there are a lot of similarities between producing something which is milk-based and something which is plant-based. I mean, basically some of the equipment is the same, isn't it, as Ola was showing? So it must be possible for you to actually convert what you already know and what you already teach into teaching plant-based as well, even if there are differences.
Yeah, this is a very
right, or is that nonsense?
No, it's not nonsense. It's a very good observation. I think, we can very easily translate it into non-dairy if we wish to do that. And Vivian, your opinion is?
It's the same. I mean, I can only underline what Maria Cristina said, because I told already that one student of us works in a company that produces oat drinks, and before, or they do it also now, but before they only produced ESL milk. And they more or less use the same processing line. They just have to implement before this enzyme thing to keep the starch and so on. But then they use the very same processing line.
So then one of the strengths, I will put it on Miro would be similarities in technologies and processing with dairy products. Yes?
Yes, makes sense.
Okay, I'm going to write it just not to
not to forget,
to waste
to
time.
sure
Yes, and then yeah. So I'm just writing down now similarities in the technology. Oops. This is very strange. The font is very large. I need to reduce it. I'm writing in a box, like in PowerPoint. And yeah, okay. I try to enlarge the box and to decrease the font. So this technicalities takes us a lot of time, but need to.
That's the feedback.
Yeah. So similarities with dairy technologies.
Actually, I see what you're writing behind.
Super.
Not all of it because I cannot move the sign-in box, but I can see that you're writing something.
Okay, great, so, super, excellent. Okay, I don't know how to do how to make this box a bit larger. It's complicated. I don't know. Now I'm drawing some arrows, but I don't want.
I see it too.
Well, this is so very strange. Okay, and same processing line, Vivian also said. Same processing lines. What else could we add here about strengths? I mean, these plant-based products are indeed mimicking the conventional products, and the structure is very similar with the conventional. Not only the technology, but the structure of the product should be close to the conventional ones. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Structure of the products similar. It's I'm writing letter by letter similar with the conventional dairy conventional dairy products. Okay, so we have two strengths now. Let's go and find some weaknesses. I will.
I think you find much I think you find much information about plant-based drinks, but there's less about, for example, yogurt and cheese. Obviously, this is somehow a weakness because I think our students are mainly cheese-producing companies, and I think they would be interested more in alternative cheese production.
Okay, so what are you trying to say is that for cheese, there is not much information, yes?
Not much experience or information about how alternative cheese products made, for example.
Experience and information, yeah. And I would also add here that in terms of nutritional value, of course, in terms of amino acid composition of the proteins, of course, that the plant-based products have not such good, not as many essential amino acids as we can find in the animal-based products, so in the dairy products. So from the nutritional point of view, they are poorer, let's say, than the dairy product.
Yeah, sure.
Which one were you discussing right now?
The weaknesses. We are discussing about the weaknesses.
Okay. Sorry, I was just moving because I saw that if you zoom out a little bit, you can see the boxes, and so I just moved your comments because I think you put it next to threads or something. So I've put it into chat box.
Okay, and now I see just one box. Did you move it around or okay? We can leave it there.
But if you look in the corner, you see the plus and the minus. So if you
I
someone
cannot
move
see
something, yeah, I can see that someone is.
Now I can see. Now I can see. I've just simply made the image smaller, and now I can see what you mean. Yeah, great.
Yeah,
super.
So I've just copied your text and put it in the green box. So I think we can delete it, or you can just keep writing, and I'll move it for you afterwards.
Okay.
That's up to you.
Thank you, Maria Cristina. Yeah, great.
No problem.
Yeah, I did not notice that there are special
is a
boxes.
Bit, strange. Yeah.
So threads. Then we are here at weaknesses, and we should add something more here. Yeah, we can also add here what we have discussed. I will make. Okay. So we will just mention that for cheese analogs, there is no much information and experience in the processing. Yes, would you agree with that? Okay, and then I would also add the nutritional profile, and I will just mention here amino acids profile. The nutritional, probably it's a hyphen that I need to put it here. Amino acids profile is weaker for plant-based products in comparison with dairy products. Okay. Comparison with dairy products. Okay. Let's see if it is placed. Okay. No,
I'm not sure where I see what you've been writing.
But we are group 3.
Yeah, I see it. I'll just move it to another place.
Yeah,
where I move the rest. Yeah.
Maria Cristina, no, but we are group 3. We should move it because there on the top it is written group 7, group 8. And
yeah, okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and we are right. I was writing the information on group 9 or something. This is crazy.
Yeah, okay, I'll see if I can move it. You just continue the dialogue, and now I'll see
6?
if I can find them.
So then we don't have. We should go up. I think our group. We should move it.
Yeah, I think it's just above. I put in the other comments, but let me check. Yeah.
Thank you. If you could do it, great.
I'll see if I can because
you can find it now. Yeah.
I think I can.
Super, excellent. Thank you. Yeah. So the opportunities now, we have arrived at the O letter. Opportunities in teaching dairy plant-based. Which opportunities?
Oh, yeah, there we go.
I think we will be moved back now.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back,
there
everyone.
are some echoes.
Let's see. Okay. Okay, good. The echo is gone. Whew. Okay, I can see that we only lost 3 people in the process, so thank God for that. I just want to say thank you so much for being courageous and actually throwing yourself into this, because I can definitely see that, okay, there's difficulties logging into the Miro board, difficult figuring out how to write in it, yeah, that there's different groups. Some people also dropped their answers in the chat, which is totally fine, so I've saved those as well. But I just want to say thank you for giving it a go, because this can be really, yeah, really challenging. And when people don't know each other super well as well. So, but there was one of the groups, I could hear what was going on in the group, and I would say you managed it really well. If every group did like that, I think you did well. So let's see. Just give me one moment here. I can see that there are a few of the groups that have managed to write on the board, and let's see if how we can do this best. Do anyone want to also give some feedback right now, or just sort of, was it okay? Also, I guess even if you couldn't write on the Miro board, did you manage to have a conversation about it? Because that was the intention, obviously, that you could talk about it, and have we got shared challenges? Yeah, we couldn't access the system. Yeah, thank you, Ellen. Yeah, I'll save your comments as well. So thank you for that. Yeah, did you manage to? I saw some nodding around. You managed to have some conversations, even though all this technical stuff didn't work. Yeah, yeah. This is also what we experience with students, right? Yeah. When we try this out, it's the same. Sometimes it just works brilliantly. Other times it's like super, super challenging. Okay, let me just see, because I think what I'll just do, we've got a few minutes before our break, and I just want to share. Let's see, I want to share the window. Just let's do it right here. Okay, and let's see if I zoom in on these. So where there's some people jumping around here. Maria Christina, I can see you're here. So the strengths is floating around down here. No, yeah, here, okay. Yeah, so strengths. No, I'm just going to pick out some examples, and we'll just, anyone can comment or whatever. Maybe you can see, oh yeah, I had the same, or like we thought about this too. So similarities with dairy technology, same processing lines, like that can be a good thing. Structure of the product, similar with the conventional dairy product, yeah. But then you have over on the weaknesses, the nutritional profile is weaker for plant-based products in comparison with dairy products. Yeah, also similar to what they were talking about earlier today, right? If we jump down to this group here, they managed to write in each box. Well done. Here we've got some opportunities, a new area to teach, interesting to develop. Yes, for sure. And create new discussion and teaching program. I actually think this is really key of all of this, right, as well, to be able to have that discussion, like we were saying earlier as well, about the curiosity and, yeah, seeing this as an opportunity more than like, oh my God, what do I do? Because it has to be part of our future thinking, right? Spread knowledge and experiment. Make students meet with R&D as that being important in the processing. Yeah, that's a good idea as well. Threats. Digging the gap in the classical, dairy interest. Yeah, there's definitely some conflict here, right? Missing the practical value for sure. And I think this goes across the board for teachers as well. I could hear the group I was sort of eavesdropping on. I think there was a technological like flaw or something, but I could hear they were talking about this, that it's so difficult when each teacher would not necessarily have the same experience making a product as you would with making maybe cheese or milk, where you might have worked in a plant, you might have actually, had that practical experience. Misconception about plant-based product, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think events like this is the only way we can really move past that as well, right? Continuous education, continuous knowledge sharing, networking on this topic. Impacts on career decisions. And let's just, for the final minute here, see there's another group that managed to actually write a bit here. Yeah, strengths. There is a demand, responding to this demand. sustainability considerations, future food production capacity. Yeah, I think this is interesting. I went to a talk recently as well where they were also saying, you know, that this is also a way to really create flexibility in that food chain and ensuring that for consumers, it represents an entry point for working with and teaching students. Yes, part of future for current students. Yeah, possibilities around hybrids. It doesn't have to be either or. Yeah, and graduate employment opportunities for current students as well. Yeah, for sure. And I think that it will change the job market in that sense as well, that these becoming a educated dairy person doesn't necessarily mean that you will be making cheese anymore or milk or whatever. Weaknesses, lack of time to develop learning materials. Yeah, this is really a big one that we are experiencing as well. It can be super, super hard, right? Lack of appropriate resources, teaching materials, suitable processing equipment in laboratories and pilot plants. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, it's not easy for most of our institutions, right, to just change where the processing equipment that we've already got, like they're talking about, like even though Ola was saying, oh yeah, some of the parts you can use and then you just tweak things or whatever, it's still like a huge undertaking for a school to suddenly include this as a line. Gap in knowledge between what is happening commercially and what we are teaching. Yeah, it's moving quickly in this space. Okay, so I'm assuming that I think some of this we're touching on the same things, but I'll write up a list because part of the teacher toolkit will also be your feedback, your inputs, all of that. So we can use that and also take that into consideration. Maybe you want to create a discussion like this with your students. If you're teaching plant-based, you could take this concept and then you already have some ideas and input yourself, you know? So if the students are struggling with it, it'll be easier for you to help them. So in that way, seeing it as a tool as well. Yeah. Any comments here before we go on a break? Looking at your faces. Okay, no? Okay, so I'll see you back here in about 10 minutes, so 11:21, and then we'll have the last presentation for today before we close out. Thank you so much for your participation. Okay. I invite you to come back online and put your cameras on if possible. Good to see you again. See. Okay, I hope you all managed to stretch your legs and run to the toilet or whatever you needed to do. After sitting down for 2 hours, it can be a little bit hard. Okay, so as you can see now, we will be moving on to the final presentation of the day from Kevin Deegan, and he comes from Valio, where he's the Vice President of Innovation. And so I've had some really good chats with him in advance of today, but unfortunately his flight got canceled. He's actually in Copenhagen, and yeah, there was issues with the flight and whatnot, so he had to record this presentation super early this morning, and he then sent it to me. So let's cross everything to make sure that this will work, because I'm going to share his video and hopefully it will feel like just a normal presentation, really, because it's online. So it shouldn't hopefully make that much of a difference. And so what we'll do afterwards, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'll write them down and we will pass them on to Kevin so he can respond. And he was very sorry that he couldn't be here and actually have that engagement himself, but life happens and we have all this technology to save us, so hopefully it'll be okay. So we'll watch that now, and then we'll just do some close out at the end, and I think we'll finish about, I said 12:15, but I think it will be maybe 12:10 or something like that. So just so you know where we're at. Okay. Include sound. Let's see. Okay, here we go. And so
my name is Kevin Deegan.
Ooh, yeah,
and
okay.
I am.
Yeah, okay. So I can hear it, but let me know if anyone on the call can hear it, because that's the most important thing, obviously. Okay.
Vice President for Innovation in Valio, Finland. And I'm also Professor of Practice in the Hanken School of Economics in Helsinki, Finland. And today I'm going to talk about how we are trying to reimagine innovation in a 120-year-old dairy company.
Cecilia, are we supposed to see something as well?
Yes. You don't see anything?
See anything, but I don't know if I'm the only one.
Do you guys see a picture? Share screen video?
Yeah, yep. It changed now.
Yeah, it's working well, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
for me too.
Okay.
It's working.
Okay, so it's working for some people, not working for... You can hear it, Maria Christina, but you can't see it?
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm just going to try again on my end. But I don't know if that's the problem, but I'll just stop sharing for a moment and then I'll share it again. And otherwise, it works. Yeah, okay. Let's hope. Dum-dum.
And around that time started in Valio, eventually becoming head of consumer insight. It was a couple of years in another Finnish food company called Saarioinen, where I was on the board representing consumer market insight and foresight, and then came back to Valio in 2022 to lead innovation and insight. And as I mentioned, professor of practice for a 2-year period beginning last year. So first of all, a little bit about Valio. Well, Valio is a Finnish dairy cooperative founded by Finnish dairy farmers in 1905, so older than Finland itself. And the primary objective of farmers at that stage was to pool together and export high quality goods from Finland. And the first goods that we exported was butter, and butter to the UK. Dairy farmers are still the owners of Valio, and we measure our success and we pay our profits through the dairy cooperatives to the about 3,500 Finnish family farms across the country. Valio is Finland's largest food exporter, which accounts for about 25% of Finland's total food exports. And this equates to about 200 shipping containers which are filler products which leave every week from Finland. And in terms of the products that we ship abroad, we sell consumer goods to our subsidiary markets in the Baltics, in Sweden, in the US and China. And then also we have B2B sales of industrial powders. We sell to the infant milk formula industry, to the pharmaceutical industry, and the bakery industry and confectionery industry around the world. And we also have the privilege of having a Nobel Prize in our company. In 1945, the head of Valio Laboratories, A.I. Virtanen, received the Nobel Prize for chemistry. In fact, the first Valio labs were set up in 1917, which is the same year that Finland gained independence. And the reason we show this, obviously, it's nice to have a Nobel Prize, but it represents quite symbolically what innovation means. And essentially, research and development and innovation is central to our success and everything that we have done, and also is a driving force for future innovation. Earlier last year, at this stage actually, our Food 2.0 research and development program was funded by Business Finland, which is the funding arm of the Finnish government for industry. And we received a 10 million euro grant to establish what's called this Food 2.0 network. And essentially what we're trying to do is to create a nature smart food system in which growth and profitability and added value are the basis of sustainable production. And as a result of this, we've built an ecosystem of partners involved in various different parts of this quite complex picture. And I think the core of this is represented on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, which is partially obscured by my video. But we see the future of sustainable food production in terms of animal-based, plant-based, and cellular agriculture, or cell-based. So that's quite a bold statement to make for traditionally what is a dairy cooperative, but in terms of producing the amount of food which is going to be needed, estimates of an increase of 50% more food by 2050 to feed the amount of people that are going to be in the world. We really see that through these aims and with these methods, that's the only way that we can do it in a sustainable fashion. So our ecosystem currently has about 170 partners across academia, across industry, both within and outside Finland. So if that's something which is of potential interest to you or want to learn more about, I'd be happy to tell you more. So just a little bit in terms of the facts and figures of Valio. We're owned by 3,400 dairy farmers through 13 cooperatives in the country of Finland. We process every year 1.7 billion litres of milk, which is about 80% of the milk in Finland. We have 15 plants in Finland and Estonia, and our turnover in 2023 was 2.3 billion euros. We export to just over 50 countries around the world, and we've also made the foray into plant-based milk and meat alternatives through our Oddly Good brand, which has been spun off as a standalone company, and through the acquisition of Golden Green, which is a plant-based meat alternative company. And I'll talk a little bit more about Oddly Good later in this presentation. We also have established a wholesale company, and we have a few interesting joint ventures currently happening. One is the production of biogas from manure, poo power, and this is with ST1, which is a Finnish energy company, and that's been used to ultimately fuel our milk trucks. And we already have milk trucks on the road, which are powered by poo. We have a Nobel Prize in 1945. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. And every year we try to bring 5 to 10 new patents or inventions across the world. And again, obscured by my video, there should be a picture of 5 flags representing our 5 core markets where we work, and we have approximately 4,200 employees across those 5 countries. So first of all, I'd like to talk about innovation as a term. When I came back to Valio to lead innovation, and essentially innovation management is my title, we started to think about, well, what does innovation mean? And the term innovation is quite overused, and it's stretched across contexts that it kind of becomes a buzzword or an empty word. It means everything or it means nothing. Early in this position, I was recruiting for an innovation manager for my team, and we got a lot of very good applications. And during the interview process, I interviewed maybe 7 or 8 people, and everybody could answer questions really well and interviews really well these days. And the one question that confused people, or the one question that people didn't have necessarily a quick answer for, was the question, what does innovation mean? And that's quite funny if you think that the job title in question was innovation manager, and people had trouble explaining what innovation meant. But it also shows that it means a lot of things, and it doesn't mean one thing. So we can think about it in terms of an improvement, an invention, advancement, breakthrough. We could talk about it in terms of creativity. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what it means. What matters is what it means for us. One thing that we try to do is, through Innovation Manager and enabling people to be a part of innovation through culture, is to make it relevant for everybody. So innovation in some companies is something that happens somewhere with a dedicated team, whereas for other people outside of that team, it's not relevant for them. Our view was that innovation is for everybody. So we needed to represent it and describe it in a way that it was relevant for everybody. So we came up with the term better every day. Now, I would say that this is not an original term. I can't remember where I got it from, but it's the idea is that it's clear and a simple message for everybody in our company. So when we talk about innovation and value, we talk about it through this lens, better every day, a culture of creativity, collaboration, and comfort in uncertainty, which makes innovation relevant and a shared responsibility for everybody in the company. So if we go into the theory about innovation and what does it mean, I mentioned that in some companies it's present, but it's present in a certain team, and this is visualized here. On the left-hand side, you see, for example, you can have innovation activities that are concentrated on individuals, and in many ways, I guess historically we have had that through our R&D. If you ask somebody in the hallway in Valio, where does innovation happen, they can say, well, it happens in R&D. You can then bring it closer and closer in and stretch it across organization. You can have it as part of an organization. You can have it in different points across an organization, or you can have it as the central starting point of most activities of most organizations, or, which is present on the right hand side, it's an integral part of everything that everybody does. And our aim is to move towards the right hand side of this image. Where we currently are, I would say, is probably between the second and the third ball. But we very much believe that it's relevant for everybody, and everybody should have at least the opportunity to take part in innovation. Now, when we talk about how innovation happens, and I mentioned at the beginning in the title of this talk, is that we're trying to kind of reimagine what innovation could be. There are, in a very simple way, there are 2 types of innovation. One is that we invent something, we create something, and we try to find a market. We try to find somebody to sell it to. So we term that tech or push innovation. We invent something and we push it out. Now, this is not just a Valio thing. It's not just a dairy industry thing, but it is quite common historically in the dairy industry that we talk about and we carry out innovation in this way. And there's a very simple reason why. Valio, like our competitors, are traditionally dairy companies. And our starting point is milk. So we have exactly the same raw material as our major competitors. The competitive advantage that we can create that will give us advantage on the market comes from inventing something that doesn't exist, or inventing something that our competitors can't exist, or that we can patent. So that's why push innovation has been the staple of the dairy industry, essentially. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. We have quite a large R&D per capita in Valio. We have very, very bright minds and very educated people working in R&D. And it is of a great advantage and privilege that we can have that. And also historically, like I showed you, we have examples through our history of that as well. And when this works, it works really, really well, because it usually results in unique innovation, something that didn't exist before. The famous quote from Henry Ford, that if he had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. We don't necessarily, or consumers don't necessarily, or can't say what they want, or they can say what the solution is going to be. They can tell you their problems and they can tell you what they need, but they can't always tell you what the solution is. So we need to think about it like that. But we also need to inspire and to bring something new. When this doesn't work, it flops, and it flops badly, because the underlying reason or the underlying need probably wasn't there at the beginning. So you're selling something as a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. So what's the other way to do innovation? Well, we can think about it in terms of pull. So we have push, pull. And pull means that, well, we consider, we talk to, we predict, we look towards the future and think, what do people want? What do people need? What kind of challenges do people have, and how can we provide a solution to those challenges? And that's called pull innovation. Now, at the beginning of this talk, I didn't mention, but I should have, is that we're a dairy company traditionally, and we're currently undergoing a transition, a strategic change to become a food company. So I'll get into that in a little bit, but why, you could argue as well that dairy is food, and it is, but it's also that we're looking for opportunities outside of the core categories of dairy. And what could then that mean? Could we be working in meat alternatives as we do, or dairy alternatives, and so on? And in this world, in this new world that we're stepping into and that we're reimagining, our opportunities and our possibilities are far wider than just milk, and far wider than the raw material at the beginning. So this means that we can't rely anymore on what we can produce from milk, what we can uniquely produce, but we also have to consider that, well, the world is our oyster. The opportunities are everywhere. And in our 120-year history, this year, Valio is 120 years old. The last 10 years have seen the greatest change in how we approach innovation. Now, to give you a few examples of this, the first one is about push innovation. So an example where we invented something and tried to find a market. There's a product range that we have called Kiehu, which is the Finnish for boil, essentially, or cook. And the tagline on this product, which is in Finnish, which I'm sure you probably don't understand, is helppo keeta, vaikea polta, which means easy to cook, difficult to burn. So the classic problem when you're making your bechamel sauce, or in the Nordic areas making your Christmas porridge with milk, is that you have to stir it. If you're heating milk, it's going to burn if you don't stir it. Now, I'm speaking to an academic audience today, and you may or may not know that it is due to one of the two major proteins in milk that the burning happens. So a bright spark in our R&D decided one day, well, removing components of milk for us is every day. It's very, very easy. So why don't we just remove that one, resulting in a milk that doesn't burn? So we have a product here where you can make your Christmas porridge or your bechamel sauce, or any application where you need to cook milk or boil milk, and it won't burn on the bottom of the pan. Now you could argue, well, okay, that's a lifesaver. It's quite a narrow lifesaver. When we think about the types of volumes that we need to produce, we're a large dairy in order to have a commercial profitable product. Something like this is on the border. It goes through obviously at Christmas time, and it has a huge surge in sales, and it sells enough across the year that we can keep it in our portfolio. But again, the starting point for this wasn't necessarily that we need to solve this problem. It was that, well, we can do this. So what about pull innovation? So responding to needs. The Valio in 2016-17, we started to look at plant-based dairy alternatives. And I'll talk a little bit about that. And this is our brand, Oddly Good, which was spun out as its own company 3 years ago. So this is a standalone company now from Valio, which Valio remains the majority shareholder in. And these products are present across markets in Europe currently and is growing very, very well over the last 6 years. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But first of all, when thinking about innovation, there are a lot of barriers to it. So what are the kind of barriers that we meet in our kind of everyday life in work? And it could be our history, the way that we've always done it. You know, something that kills innovation is, well, we've always done it like that. We need to challenge those types of thoughts. It could be something about the present. We work with value-added consumer goods. So we're selling to supermarkets and retail. So we're tied into their quarterly development windows and sales windows. So we kind of have the routine of, well, we need to get ready for this sales time. We need to sell, then we need to start again. And also, I think product and technology centricity is something which probably in the dairy industry we're very stuck to. Like, we like our products, we like to talk about our products and what's good in them, what's the functionality. But do we create stories? Do we trigger emotions? And we make decisions as consumers mainly by emotion, not by rationale or logic. So are we good at that? And then in terms of the future, can we look forward? Can we predict? Can we create scenarios by which we create our futures and not just react to them? The state that we want to get in innovation, or we want to get to in innovation, is what we call the innovation dream state. And there are three central parts of that: co-creation and open innovation. So how do we get people together? How do we create a user focus and consumer centricity? And we use this term unusual suspects. How do we get people in our business, in our company, which is quite big, to talk to each other? How do we get different silos who wouldn't necessarily be involved in the same projects to sit down and have a chat and say, okay, well, you're doing that, I could help with that, or I have an idea about that. And that sounds like a common sense and a very easy thing to do, but it is culturally quite challenging. We believe, I'm not saying this is right, but that innovation is for everybody, and it's a way of thinking and doing. It's not just to talk, but you have to actually walk the walk as well. So how do we enable that to happen? How do we allow people to experiment? How do we give them the permission and the time in order to try things, make mistakes? And then we want to create an environment and a culture of risk-taking. How do we create psychological safety? How do we embrace uncertainty? We try to reduce and decrease uncertainty all the time, but we can't do that. We just have to live with uncertainty, and we need to make decisions so we don't waste time. We don't take too long to make decisions that we will never be sure of. We need to kind of fail fast, essentially. And we need to challenge our assumptions. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our plant-based brand, Oddly Good. So when we started to think about, okay, we're a dairy cooperative, and what's happening with plant-based, we saw the rise of brands like Oatly. In general, the category was growing very strongly. And we had a lot of assumptions about that particular category and of why people were using plant-based dairy alternatives. So I'm talking about, we call it dairy alternative drinks, milk alternatives, and spoonables, so like yogurt type alternatives as well. And when we think about innovation, we do innovation, we need to challenge our assumptions, and we have a lot of assumptions. And with this particular case in 2016, 2017, we had three major assumptions. One was that surely consumers don't use both plant-based and traditional dairy. Like, that doesn't make any sense to us. Second one, the most common reason for consumers to switch or to become interested in plant-based is because of ethical concerns. And the third one was that consumers are willing to sacrifice for their beliefs. So the products are not as good quality-wise. I think across the dairy industry, we're pretty agreed on that. But our people, and we believe that people are willing to sacrifice. If your belief is strong enough, quality doesn't need to be there. So we challenge these three assumptions. The first, do consumers use both plant-based and traditional dairy? In our research, this is from 2017, but we have studies from earlier as well. 90% of plant-based drinks and snacks users use both plant-based and dairy-based simultaneously. So we did our own research. We looked at point-of-sale data from our retail partners. 90%, completely wrong, absolutely wrong, this hypothesis. Second, the most common reason for people to switch or to become interested in plant-based is because of ethical concerns. The most common reason was variety, just to try something new. Across the markets that we looked at, this is from 2018, we do this on a regular basis. Usually in the markets that we look at, the number one reason why people become interested in this category is just to try something new and for something new, variety. The top 5 reasons are here: variety, well-being. Those two switch between. So in some markets, well-being maybe, but then again, well-being is quite wide and it's not so well defined as to what it really means. But then there's ecological reasons, ethical reasons, and taste. So ethical reasons actually I think this was from the Finnish market in 2018, was number 4. So which means about 20% of people are moving towards that category because they have ethical concerns. 80% of people don't have ethical concerns. And then thirdly, the consumers are willing to sacrifice their beliefs. The most important feature in the choice of dairy or plant-based dairy alternatives, this study is from 2024, taste across those 4 markets. This again is a hypothesis that didn't hold true and actually makes a lot of sense. The number one criteria, without talking about this category in particular, the number one reason why you will buy a product again is it tastes good. If you buy a new product that you haven't tasted before and it doesn't taste good, you're not going to buy it again. And that holds true for the majority of the purchase decisions that we make. What's the number one barrier preventing use? So people who would be interested in these products and probably have tried them, bad taste. In Spain, cost. Again, bad taste was number 2 there. So if you look across these 3 assumptions that we had, or hypothesis that we had, well, consumers use both. The vast majority use both plant-based and traditional. The most common reason for consumers to switch to plant-based is for variety, and consumers are not willing to sacrifice for their beliefs. So actually, when we studied and we talked to consumers, observed and asked, a lot of what we believed didn't hold true. And this is the story and the narrative that we started to build. And we built a packet of information essentially for our owners, who are dairy farmers, to make this decision. And they made the very brave decision in 2018, if I remember correctly, to start working in this category. It made a lot of sense. We have the know-how, we have the machinery, but we're starting with a different raw material, in this case, mainly oats. And the rest is history. We launched Oddly Good in 2018. It's now a standalone company. We're talking about enjoyment. We're talking about fun. One major characteristic of the new wave of plant-based that probably started with Oatly is that it's a celebration. It's no longer a sacrifice. Previously, if you wanted to have plant-based alternatives, it meant that you have a problem and that you needed a solution to that problem. Now it's that I'm making a positive choice. And this is what we try to represent also through the advertising for Oddly Good. So just to wrap that up, we founded in 2018. We have very strong links, obviously, with Oddly Good still, even though it's a separate company. It started with oats. It's now stretched to other plant-based ingredients, for example, soy, pea proteins, coconut, these types of things as well. And all the while, the focus is on great taste mainly, and for those types of cooking products or products that you use in the kitchen, functionality. So that's one of the biggest drivers, or one of the biggest barriers to choosing plant-based in kind of cooking applications, is that they don't work, or that they should work the same as traditional dairy products. So what I can say about this is that in 2018 we had a turnover of €0 for this, and in last year we passed the €50 million mark in the space of 6 years with this brand, and it's growing very, very strongly. This year, Oddly Good acquired the British plant-based brand Rude Health, which obviously then is giving it access to new markets and increasing widening its portfolio of products as well. So an example of something that in many ways was quite extreme and brave for a dairy cooperative to do, and in a bigger picture, an example of a new type and a new way that we can approach innovation. So that was everything I wanted to talk about today. I appreciate your attention. Through the QR link here on the slide, you can access my LinkedIn page. I'm happy to connect and have a chat as necessary. And I hope that I've hopefully brought something, at least something to think about, and to think about in terms of the traditions and the history that we have in our dairy industry, and how we can maybe think about it in a different way. So thank you very much for your attention, and have a nice day.
Okay. And no, but thank you for the comment about making the screen larger. I hope it worked out in the end, and I hope you all were able to watch it. Yeah, so a different take. We're not in processing here or enzymes, anything like that, but more sort of innovation, branding, considerations and around all of that. I'll share my screen here again before we start to close out, just to get some of your input as well on this. Maybe third time is the lucky time here. So I would love to see if you can let's see if you can add to here, or drop it in the chat again. That's an option as well. I'd love to know what key messages you're taking from Kevin's presentation. Anything that stood out to you? Yeah, importance of understanding consumers. For sure. Really interesting that they had done this exploration, or this like having the 3 assumptions, and then realizing that they were just like totally off. Let's see if there's some more people who've added here. Yeah, the wrong beliefs. The need to be open-minded. It's not all about the food dairy science. Yeah. There's so much more to this. It's really interesting how, keeping the open mind, right? There's so much space here. I think this is also, like, Kevin really speaks to this fact of or this situation of the flexibility, right? If we can create more spaciousness in the market for this sort of stuff, like it just opens more opportunities instead of like being this black or white situation. Here we go. We're back at this. Let's see if there are real opportunities out there. Yeah. Okay, good. And the next one here, how could you apply the information given by Kevin in your current teaching practices? And this could be within a plant-based course or also something outside. Obviously, this is a different take, right? It could be interesting to test maybe some of these assumptions with students, because I think our students might hold the same as well. I don't know what you think. Camilla said with me here in the room, but I was kind of thinking that as well. see. I'll update this again. I hope next time we do this that this will work. I won't have to do this now. Let's see. Or drop it in the chat. You're also welcome to speak up if you are feeling that way inclined. I'll just update one last time, otherwise we'll move on to the next one here. Yeah, the taste of the product you made should be great. Yeah. That actually matters more than maybe assumed, and that we're not willing to give up, just sacrifice necessarily. Showing that it's not all about being ethical, but more about taste and function. Yeah, I think that's really interesting too, because I think, like here, that's also my assumption that you would be buying plant-based products to save the planet or save animals or something like that. But or saving animals, I guess, when we're talking about the ethical side here. I'll just do one more update and we'll move on. Give an assignment to students to redesign a dairy product. Yeah. I think we've experimented a little bit with this here, and is it in technology as well, where they also do marketing and like innovate, like maybe it could fit into that. Yeah, that would be interesting as well. Are there any aspects presented by Kevin that challenged you today? I'll drop it in the chat. Yeah, okay, man. I've really been unlucky today with this. Oh, did it go back one? Here we go. Are you still yours? Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're welcome to drop a comment in the chat, maybe if there's something that challenged you today about what Kevin was talking about. Okay, I don't think it's working. I don't know. Maybe it's not picking up. Oh man. Okay. We'll move on. I don't know why it's not working. So yeah. What I would like though, if you do have any questions for Kevin, drop them to me or drop them in the chat or send an email, or you can contact him directly. I have to leave. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That would be great. And then I had some slides for the last bit here, but because it's not working, I would just like to open the floor. Has anyone got feedback from the last 3 hours today? So has the format worked? You know, we've had 3 speakers this time around. Last time we only had 2. This time around, the breakup session was in the middle. Yeah, have you got any sort of feedback to share around that? Of course, I'll send out a feedback form as well, but if there's any sort of immediate comments right now, I'm so open to hear from you guys. Yeah. See, okay, there's a few clapping. I'll take that as a positive. Yeah, a few hearts. Thank you. Good. Thank you. Okay. That's good to know. It's always good to know, you know, because we're doing one of these soon again, and